New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm your host, the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb. I serve as the Senior Minister of the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I'm the author of a number of different books, including The Soul Prosperity, as well as a number of others, such as Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, 30 P's for Prosperity, Prosperity from A to Z, and Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board. So I am always so thrilled to have these discussions on prosperity, and I'm also thrilled to approach prosperity from a number of different perspectives, because prosperity is more than just money and stuff. There may be spiritual prosperity, where you find within you the peace that passes all understanding, and that peace becomes unshakable by anything that happens outside of you. There could be professional prosperity, where, in the words of Florence Scovel Shinn, you have the perfect job with perfect pay, where you provide a wonderful service in a wonderful way. You could be in search of relationship prosperity, where you develop and cultivate an inner relationship of self-love, self-respect, positive self-regard, and self-support, and that is then shown to you in your outer world in the form of relationships that are loving, supportive, and respectful. There may be logistical prosperity, where your life begins to just work better with fewer hassles, fewer struggles, and fewer obstacles. And of course, a prosperity of other resources, including money and all of the good and the ease that money can buy. So we look at all of this each week, and we not only look at the internal blockages to our external prosperity, but we look also at spiritual practices and philosophies that can help us to cultivate the consciousness of prosperity, which then causes us to attract all the different types of prosperity to us that we desire and that we deserve. So tonight is a very special night in that we are going to be discussing Unguilt Your Way to Prosperity. Unguilt Your Way to Prosperity. And we're going to start this with a prosperity story, because we have some wonderful news to share. Our producer, who you know, Reverend Michael Mangus, was just ordained as a Center for Spiritual Living minister. Now, he was ordained by a prior order. However, this is an amazing accomplishment because after getting the call to ministry, you have to do 3 years of documented spiritual work. Then you have to defend your thesis. And so this is not something to be taken lightly. And we just congratulate him. We're so excited, so proud of him, and so glad that he has been a help to us all in the midst of his own journey of prosperity. Welcome and congratulations, Reverend Michael.
Oh, thank you so very much. What an honor. Thank you. It's been nice going on my shows that I produce and people surprising me with all kinds of accolades. So yeah, it's as I was telling you before the show, is that I've gotten a lot of really nice comments on my Facebook page congratulating me. And then I get the ones that say, well, I am ordained by the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, or I'm ordained by the Universal Life Church. Okay, that's internet ordination in Ohio. That's good enough for you to go ahead and apply to the state to go ahead and to get your marrying license as a minister.
Mm-hmm.
This ordination is considered a regular or ecclesiastical ordination,
whereas by an institution.
Yes. So not only did I get the master's degree, the accredited master's degree, but I also got the certificate of ministerial leadership. And then I had to panel for licensure. Mm-hmm. And then once I started a letter of call with a ministry, New Thought Media Network, then that started the clock ticking towards ordination. You have to have in 3 calendar years of reports into our home office to even be eligible to even panel. So it's been, gosh, since I've been licensed, like 3.5 years, over 3.5 years before that, I was eligible even to apply. So yeah, this is this is a big deal. And I always wanted to be an ordained minister of religious science through Centers for Spiritual Living. So I am just so grateful and thankful. And I'm grateful and thankful to you, Reverend Dr. Webb, and everyone else out there. Again, thank you for all of your love and prayers and your support of myself and also this ministry here. So again, thank you so very much. It was really interesting on my panel. I had 3 other ordained ministers go ahead and kind of quiz me. And it was interesting that 2 of them I had worked with either on New Thought Media Network or that I knew from one of the conferences that I helped with the technical aspects for the streaming. So, yeah. And I knew the other guy's name, but I just, we never met formally. But yeah, it was interesting having. I really did have a panel of my peers.
Yes.
So yeah, so it was interesting, and I felt so relieved. And because that, I'll tell you what, I've heard all kinds of stories over the years, and I just had to say, no, I need just to be centered and just to go ahead and go in there and just be myself and let the chips fall where they may. So,
and they fell on the right side. Congratulations. And our audience, I want you all to say something. I want you to congratulate Reverend Michael on this wonderful accomplishment. So put your congratulations in the chat for Reverend Michael.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. Yes. Well, Jane Beth says greetings. Hello there. And Deborah Thomas, hi there. Good evening, gentlemen. All right. So what are we talking about this evening? Besides celebrating the ordination.
That too, and unguilting your way to prosperity. How we can unguilt ourselves.
All right. So let's just get clear on, okay, so what is guilt?
Guilt is the feeling that somehow you are wrong, not enough, or in some way inadequate. It is the distance between what you erroneously believe your perfection to be and your current situation, because it's a place where you forgot that you are perfect for your purpose just as you are. So it's an underlying feeling of inadequacy, wrongness, or somehow an underlying feeling of not enoughness.
All right. So where did we get all that stuff?
All that stuff has one simple origin. And this is the beauty. You know, we think spiritually that we have all kinds of lotions and potions and ointments and unguents and affirmations and this and that. It's all based on one error in thinking, according to A Course in Miracles. According to A Course in Miracles, all of the guilt stuff comes from the error in thinking that we are separate from Source or God or love or the One. Whatever you want to call it, there's a part of us that believed that we were separate from it, apart from it instead of a part of it. And when we began to believe in error, that we were apart from the Source, we began to believe that we were prodigal children evicted from heaven and something was wrong with us. We were abandoned by Source, and therefore we had to go through all kinds of trials and tribulations to make ourselves good again. But that was all an error because we were never separated. But the guilt, the false guilt of false separation, is the cause of all blockages to our prosperity.
All right. So where does that come from specifically? You and I were talking before about the church, Christianity, world religions, saying that money is evil, that you should only have so much. And then we have these, it's always interesting, the people who say, well, you shouldn't want to be rich, but we have a building campaign.
Yes, absolutely. We have, and let's remember that no matter what type of guilt it is, or no matter how it manifests, the source of guilt is the false idea of separation. So let's look at money, as you suggest. We feel separate from love, separate from our good, and we have the schizophrenic relationship with money. On one level, we've been taught from this consciousness of separation that money is the root of all evil. Yet, the schizophrenia comes in because we feel guilty when we don't have it, because our society doesn't worship money. Our society fetishizes money. That's a level above worship. We fetishize money. And when we find ourselves on the wrong side of our money, we feel guilty because we feel inadequate, because we feel like we failed, and we feel like we are not worthy of societal good or societal love. So just imagine how this conflict creates all kinds of havoc in our lives. And you put it best, Reverend Michael, you put it best, where we get these conflicting messages. Money is the root of all evil. In order to be noble and holy, you have to be poor. Yet the other message that we get is, in our society, in order to be worth something, you have to be worth something.
Yes. And I just find it interesting that a lot of, for example, like the secret schools for many, many years, one of the things that they taught their initiates was, again, how to manifest money, because, again, that money is good. Yes. And that, again, money is an inanimate object.
Yes.
And that we put the value to that piece of paper.
Right.
So And through my Bible study,
Mhm.
again, through the Jewish Bible, the Old Testament, and
Mhm.
also the New Testament, what it says is that God is a source
Mhm.
of all wealth,
Mhm.
and that we are to put spirit first. And what you were saying is to heal that sense of separation
Mhm.
and to know that we are children of the Most High and that we can experience good,
Yes.
and that from a place of experiencing good, then
Yes.
we can help other people, including the church, the so-called poor, the widows, other
Yes.
people. We can help them from a place of wholeness within ourselves. So
Yeah.
talk about, so how do we recognize guilt when it's uh, affecting our decisions, our outlook, and our experiences?
Okay. I want to get to that, but I want to work with what you just said a little bit more because it was so brilliant. In that in it all once again, it all goes back to separation. One of the things you mentioned, you alluded to a Bible verse: seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else shall be added unto you. The kingdom of heaven that we seek is one that we never left. It is a feeling of oneness with source, of completeness, because as A Course in Miracles says, love created me like itself, a feeling of full love for ourselves as loving, lovable, love-able beings, an awareness of ourselves as not separate from spirit, not evicted from source, but as a reflection and a projection of source, having all the qualities of source, in other words, in God's image. And when we know of ourselves in that way, the kingdom of heaven, which Jesus said, know ye not, the kingdom of heaven lives within you, we recontact that space within us that forgot our divinity. And when we reconnect with, recontact, realign with that space within us, that eternal internal light within us, that is heaven. That is joy. For A Course in Miracles says in 103, 104, lessons 103 and 104, God being love is happiness. And when we fill ourselves with that energy, when we remember and vibrate with and operate out of that consciousness, then we allow all of our good. And just as you said, that good is not to assuage or compensate for our ego's beliefs or in our shortcomings, because our ego's beliefs and shortcomings no longer exist. Because
Right.
we know ourselves as holy, beloved children of God. And when we know ourselves as that, all that other stuff that we thought we needed money to compensate for, So we understand that money, as you said, Reverend Michael, is simply a medium of exchange, a medium of joy, a medium of support, a medium of sharing. And we use it for our joy, and we use it to support others in their joy as well. So I just wanted to work with that a little bit more because what you brought up was so brilliant. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you. So we're going to work with, if it's okay, we're going to work with Henry Harris. Hello there, Henry. How are you? So I'm going to say, I'm going to just switch this around because I think this is what you meant. If you can, was it? It says, if you can unguilt your way out of it, how does one guilt their way into it? I think it's switched though. If you can guilt your way, um, uh, again, to
Into it,
have
how
the
can you unguilt your way
experiences,
out of it?
there you
Yes.
go. The
Let's
floor is
work with it.
yours, sir.
Absolutely. Let's work with it. I'm looking at a computer right now as I'm talking to everyone. And a computer has an operating system. It is its software at its core that tells it what to do. We, in our minds, have an operating system. It is the software at our core that tells us what to do. Now, the software at our core that tells us what to do may have a bug in it. And you know about this because every night when you plug in your phone or your iPad or whatever, all the bugs get erased because of a software update.
Mhm.
Our software has a bug in it. The bug in our software is, once again, separation. We thought ourselves to be separate from God, evicted from the Garden of Eden, and somehow wrong. But we must fix that central bug so we no longer operate out of that belief in our guilt or our wrongness or our not enoughness. So, how do we fix that central bug in our core operating system? Just like they send these over the air updates overnight, in our meditation, in our prayers, in our communion, in our daily spiritual practice, guess what we get? We get those same over the air updates. We get a sense of peace. We get a sense of a feeling of being at one with something bigger than ourselves. We get a sense of something triggering an indwelling love. We get a sense of ourselves not as a body, for as the Course in Miracles says, I am not a body, I am free. I am still as God created me. Love, peace, and joy abide in me, and my sinlessness is guaranteed by God. So when we continually flood ourselves with what some call the divine light, and that divine light that we believe is coming outside of us touches the place within us where our internal, eternal light has always been, and when the two are connected, and when that connection is continually strengthened, it changes our internal operating system. Instead of operating from the perspective, I am wrong, I am bad, there is something wrong with me, and I don't deserve my good, we start operating from the internal operating system. I am whole, I am perfect, I am complete, I am worthy, I am loved, I am lovable, I am loving, and I am love-able. And so our reflex then is to operate out of enoughness instead of operating out of not enoughness. And now let me give you a little case study of this.
Okay, go ahead.
A couple weeks ago, we had an in-person service. And one of the people came up to me and said later, I couldn't hear you. Now, I didn't realize that there was a part of my central operating system that went immediately to, I must have done something wrong, for I must be wrong because there is a part of me that is wrong. There is a part of me that reacted from that place. It never occurred to me that she really meant I couldn't hear you because there was something wrong with my hearing aid, because I immediately internalized her response as there must be something wrong with me. So we go around with everything that we encounter, misinterpreting it and misunderstanding it as there must be something wrong with me. And when we can continually heal that part of us, so we know that we are perfect, whole, and complete, we no longer receive every piece of information through that false lens. And we come from a place of our wholeness and our fullness and our deservingness, and we thus allow more of our good.
So we teach our practitioners and also our ministers in the science of mind is that there's only one belief that we need to heal, and that is the belief of separation.
Yes.
Everything else, everything else comes from that.
Yes.
So once that is, and to understand that we come from wholeness, and that what we were told in the past is BS or belief systems.
Right.
So now what we're doing is we're doing what you said. We're updating our operating system. We're going from 1.0 to 3.5.
Yes, exactly.
We're aligning ourselves with that divine that's already in us.
Yes.
And again, it's not saying a bunch of affirmations, which does help. That's doing it the mental way. But the whole idea of aligning ourselves daily with the divine as us. When we come from that place, what happens is that from that operating system, we notice stuff like what you just said. We notice the reactions that sometimes that we have and go, well, Oh,
yeah,
that's yeah. That's interesting. That's
yeah,
interesting that came up for me. And
yeah.
what I want to share with everyone is that for people who have been on the spiritual path, that
Hmm.
what happens is that, especially during meditation, you start building up that observer self
Yes.
that just says, hmm, that's interesting. I wonder where that reaction is coming from.
Yes.
So talk about what happens when we're triggered like that, like you just said.
Hmm.
What is a response that we can do when we are triggered by an outside event?
First response is to breathe. Take a breath, because the breath is like pushing the reset button on your computer. Has your computer ever glitched? And what do? You push the reset button, it shuts it down, then it comes back. Well, we learn to do that in a breath. So we take a breath, we recenter ourselves, we recalibrate our energy to be in alignment with the divine, because in the moment we are triggered, we realize we are out of step with the divine. And that recalibration offers us another thought. Oh, wait a minute. From that recalibration, we get to, let's call it what you called it, your observer self. Look at me reacting this way as if I'm still a 5-year-old boy being scolded by my mother. Isn't that interesting that there's still a part of that in me? And in the next breath, we bring in the truth. The truth is, you are not a 5-year-old boy being scolded by your mother. You are not bad. You are not sinful. You are not inadequate. There is nothing wrong with you. This is a place within you that this situation presents to you for your healing. For
Yes.
all things work together for your good, and on the level of your soul, you asked for this experience because you asked for the healing that this experience would offer you. Now, Reverend Michael, I want to put it into some terms for many of our others, because that what you just mentioned was a transaction. And we
Okay.
go into transactions from this place of inadequacy. What is a typical transaction that we go through from this place of inadequacy? Someone asks us to do something, right? Have you ever been asked to do something, Reverend Michael?
Oh, of course I have.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And so if your operating system says, I am not enough, and I must prove my enoughness, my goodness, my wholeness, and my worthiness by doing this thing that someone asks me, because then they will think I'm okay, and I will get from them the love I believe I need to survive. Guess what? You automatically say yes when you really don't want to. What happens then? You get resentful. What happens then? Your energy is split, because your
Yes.
highest self knows that this is not for your greatest good. And your highest self, and when you're split from that, you're split from the flow of energy that would fuel you to do this efficiently and effectively. What may happen? You may mess it up. What may happen? You get resentful. What may happen? You may neglect something that was for your highest good to do this thing that wasn't for your highest good. And all kinds of mess ensues from that.
Hmm.
What if you heard this request from the level of your wholeness? What would you say? No, I can't do that right now. I would love to do that, but I have some other priorities that I must fulfill for the greatest good, for the greatest number. And you would feel good about yourself doing that, instead of always believing that you had to pay a debt in order to earn your good, because you believed your good came from how somebody else saw you. So you see how this feeling of guilt can cause us to do things that we don't want to do. Then we get
Oh,
resentment,
absolutely.
we miss our own marks, and we martyr ourselves, because we believe that only if we martyr ourselves can we be worthy of the heaven that we desire. So guilt is very pernicious. It,
Yes, and
it
and
can disguise itself as, I'm going to be the good guy.
and then you go and feel lousy later on
Exactly. Where's
because go
yeah,
ahead.
no, where did my energy go? Your energy was misused. You have a sacred tool called a tap. You are tapped into an infinite amount of energy that has infinite power for creation. Are you going to use it for the greatest good, for the greatest number? Or are you going to misuse it out of a sense of guilt, inadequacy, and shame? And when you misuse it, guess what? It doesn't yield the results you want. It keeps you stuck in patterns that are unproductive, and it doesn't serve you, nor does it serve the other person.
Why don't we take a break? And then we have other questions. And also, I know that our listeners this evening, our viewers also have questions too. Okay. So if what we're going to do is we're going to give them the opportunity here during our break time to go ahead and to ask their questions in the comments. And then we will be right back. This is the New Thought Media Network, and this is The Miracle of Prosperity with the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb. And we'll be right back right after these messages.
The Heal Your Life Workshop Leader and Life Coach Certification Training, approved personally by Louise Hay, is coming to San Diego. Facilitated by expert trainers Anna Milkik and Christy Dixon. This 3-month training includes multiple sessions on Zoom and 10 days in beautiful San Diego. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform their lives.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk. Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
And we're back here on, well, now hold it. Now, when I'm here, you have your staff announcer here. We're back here on the New Thought Media Network on the Miracle of Prosperity with the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb. I am the ordained Reverend Michael Mangus. This week, yours truly passed his ordination panels with Centers for Spiritual Living. So finally, after 10 years, yours truly is an ordained minister of religious science. And so for all of that, I am truly grateful. And I'm truly grateful to all of you here at this wonderful network, because this has been my ministry. Again, assisting you, and again, unfolding that magnificent light that's already in you. And we're talking about a very interesting subject this evening. We're talking about unguilt your way for prosperity, unguilting your way for prosperity. So, Reverend Doctor, how do we nip guilt in the bud? How can we recognize it, and then how can we turn it around?
First thing we recognize is the cartoon image of ourselves. And once we dissolve that cartoon image of ourselves, the guilt that goes along with it goes away as well. And what do I mean when I say the cartoon image of ourselves? We have created a belief that we have to be a certain thing, be a certain way, or in other words, have a certain image in order to be worthy, loved, and lovable. And quite often, that image of who we think we are supposed to be differs from who we really are. And let's do some examples of that, first of all. I am supposed to be a good mother. A good mother does this, but I don't. I'm supposed to be a good friend. A good friend would do this, but I don't. I'm supposed to be a good Christian or a good spiritual person. A good Christian or a good spiritual person does this, but I don't. Do you see how that gap can cause guilt?
Absolutely.
But that gap isn't really true or real because that cartoon image of ourselves doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is what we are created to be. And on the level of our eternal selves, we chose the skin we're in. We chose the circumstances we're in. We chose the situations of the moment. And whatever we chose is perfect for our healing. So maybe there is a gap, but the gap isn't real or true because this cartoon image of us that is up here doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is this thing down here that's maybe it's hurting, all right? And that's okay. So if you're hurting or in some way, another way, feeling a certain way, that's a call for love. So you begin by poking a hole in the balloon of that cartoon image of yourself, accepting yourself just as you are. I am as God created me in this situation. And I, in this situation, just as I am, strains of the old Billy Graham show, just as I am I am worthy and eligible of God's love. And I allow God's love to flow to me and through me and heal those places that felt guilty and inadequate. And as we make this a part of our daily spiritual practice, it becomes as automatic as breathing. And so we can undo layers and layers and eons of guilt with a breath because we've gotten to be experts at it as we've gotten to be experts at meditation, prayer, releasing energies unlike love, and being conduits for the grace of God. So that's what we can do.
So talk to us about how religion, and especially Christianity in this culture, how that it's, again, given us kind of two messages. Here we have some preachers say, well, go ahead and you give your tithe and, and then God will bless you. And then you have others saying, well, no, that, Jesus clearly taught that, it'll be easier for someone to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
So talk to us about the correct way of thinking through that stuff.
Sure. The most effective way of thinking through that stuff is the way that sets you free from guilt, shame, and feelings of inadequacy that cause you to deny your good. So let's look at this. Spirituality is a journey, not a transaction. And if you think of it this way, what is the minister, the priest, or whoever telling you? They're telling you this is a transaction. If you do this, if you meet this image, if you pay this much money for your indulgence, then if you fulfill your end of the transaction, God will fulfill their end of the transaction and set you free or look upon you lovingly or heal you of your infirmity. That's a transaction, right? But we know that's not what spirituality is all about. Spirituality is a journey of uncovering all those layers of illusions and false pieces of information and getting to the core where your light has already existed as perfect, where your eternal energy has always been. As A Course in Miracles says, it has been kept inviolate as all of these false ideas have covered it over with false illusions of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that it's a journey of discovering and uncovering the falsehoods we have been taught so that we can get to the truth of who we really are. And that doesn't require a transaction, because that's not between us and a priest. That's not between us and a church. That's not between us and a preacher. That's between us and God. And God doesn't need for us to pay an alms to get back into God's good graces, because we never left God's good graces, right?
No. And again, that's you. As I share with individuals, I say, well, God does not need your money. However, that the lesson here is to be able to give in love. And that understanding that giving is a universal principle, that as we lovingly give, no matter what amount. Now the prosperity preachers, and they go ahead and they say, well, 10%. Well, 10% is not a magic number. All right. That's, I think, is not in the New Testament, by the way, and someone who reads the New Testament a lot. So the whole idea, though, in the New Testament was, again, the whole idea of giving from a place of love, giving out of giving what you have to give, giving from a place of being able to, again, to experience the good. Because again, that if we are, well, like you were saying, if we are made as God essence, as us, then God is constantly giving. So if we, again, learning how to give in a loving manner without having anyone guilt you, including the church, the preacher, the priest, the rabbi, anybody else, that is, again, one of the spiritual lessons on the path. So,
and you know what I learned, Reverend Michael? I learned to see things. A Course in Miracles says, help me see this differently. What I learned was to see money and everything as different expressions of God's love. And so when I started putting money in that context, I started putting money in the same context of all the flows of God's love. The more I open and receive, the more I must share. And I started changing my thought process from giving to sharing. And the way that really helped me, Reverend Michael, is that giving indicates taking and carving something out of a finite asset, and then you have less so that somebody can have some. Whereas sharing, to me, meant I am tapped into an infinite source. And as I am tapped into that infinite source, I can share from this infinite source because it is overflowing from within me, and I must share. It's almost like, if you see a good movie, what are you going to do? You're going to go.
Of course, I'm going to tell everyone.
Yes, you're going to go tell you're going to get on the phone and tell your 3 best friends, I just saw this movie about Helen of Troy, and it was just amazing, and the cinematography was amazing, and Lupita Nyong'o, whatever her name is, was amazing. And you just can't, like the old Christians say, you just can't keep it to yourself, right?
Right.
Well, I think of it that way. And what happens is I feel in this flow, and so I'm considering, I'm going to do this gift, and I'll get an idea, and that idea will is an idea that makes me 10 times what I had planned to share, and it's like, there's no problem, because I'm in the flow. And so what that teaches me is something that Catherine Ponder said. I'm paraphrasing her now, share your good where you get your help. If you
Yes.
are feeling that an organization is supporting you, triggering you into a consciousness of love, lifting you up, energetically guiding you, and you feel full, chances are you're going to feel better. Share from that overflow to that organization to support this continual expansion of energy. And that helped me because sharing seemed to be more indicative of coming from an infinite source versus giving to me always felt like hacking away at something that was finite. And it seemed to me that that was more like, let me take away something from myself and I don't feel so good and I don't feel so whole and I'm doing it out of guilt and obligation. Let me give it to someone else and let me give until it hurts. And hurting doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't. And the one thing it always, you were mentioning, Dr. Catherine Ponder, is that I always remember a prosperity teacher asked Dr. Ponder one time, what is the number one issue in prosperity? And you would have thought that she would have said giving. No, she said receiving.
Yes.
So there's guilt when, again, the good stuff shows up, when the income increases, when things come out of the blue, again, naturally and easily. Talk about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You see, it all goes back to this false idea that we must pay a penance for our sins. A Course in Miracles, lessons 91 through 93 and 99 through 104 say, there is no sin. It has no consequences. But all of our thinking, until we have really embraced New Thought, all of our thinking has been based on this idea, I am sinful, so I must atone for my sins and I must pay. I must make payment in terms of pain, suffering, torture, or labor. And that's just not true. But that guilt causes us to literally sabotage our good, deflect from our good, be unable to accept our good. How many times have you seen someone get offered something and they say, oh, no, thank you. And they don't even know why they're saying, oh, no, thank you.
It's or no, you shouldn't have.
Yes, exactly.
And I tell them, you should have a long time ago.
Exactly. And, sometimes it comes out in the most subtle of ways. If someone deflects a compliment instead of accepting a compliment, and sometimes I do this for myself. I start the thought process, every compliment is $10,000. And that teaches me to accept all aspects of good as the beloved, holy, fully deserving child of the divine. And so that helps me to change my mindset about accepting my good. And that helps me to be fully in the consciousness of deserving that says yes to the infinite amount of good that the universe offers. And changing that habit, changing the habit so we begin to accept good and not deflect good, creates a whole different energetic dynamic. It creates a whole different energy flow. And once you change the direction of your energetic dynamic, you change the direction of your energy flow, it creates a momentum that cannot be stopped. And that's very powerful.
Guess what?
What?
We're out of time.
No, we can't. Whoa.
So, okay, so I'll say, well, Reverend Michael, what do you have going on?
Reverend Michael, what do you have going on?
Well, again, thank you to everyone again for your support in the ordination process. Hi, Wayne, I see you out there. And yes, you are talking now to an ordained Center of Spiritual Living minister now. So just remember that now. So we here at the New Thought Media Network, again, we know that we have people who align with our vision of getting powerful programming like what we have with Reverend Jim's program. Now we do, again, Jim and other of our hosts, they do lovingly give to our network. However, that only pays for a portion of what, of the bills. So again, we ask individuals to partner with us here to get this message out there. If you go to ntmedia.org/donate, or just go to ntmedia.org, they're on the donate page. I'm telling you, $25 a month on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, really makes a huge difference in the people do not find this network by accident. They find it because that they're ready for it. They're ready for a positive change. They're ready to awaken that light that's within them. So that's what I'm working on. Reverend Jim.
Yes.
What are you working on these days?
I have been blessed with a mountain house in West Virginia on acres of land with nothing around it except for beautiful scenery and peace and quiet. I will be spending the vast majority of the next 3 weeks there working on 3 books at once. And so we hope you will see them soon. One will be Magical Manifestation Miracles. And this is a book full of spiritual tools and techniques for manifesting. You'll see 2 others as well, but that's the one that I'm going to announce that you will see very soon. And I'll be working on it over the next several weeks. So stay tuned for my next releases, one of which will be Magical Manifestation Techniques. Okay?
Absolutely. Well, real good. Now, are we still going to have Miracle of Prosperity here on Sunday evenings here at your New Thought Media Network?
Yes, we will. We have this wonderful gift called the internet.
Yes.
Which means that we can do the show from anywhere on the planet. So we will, even though I will be sequestered a lot in West Virginia, we will still do the show.
We still know where you're at.
Yes.
we have ways, our satellite, the New Thought Media Network satellite. Over oh no, you got it. So yes, well, really good. How wonderful. When are the fall classes coming out?
I will be announcing them in about a week. So next week you'll hear about my fall classes.
And I'm telling you, folks, and again, it sounds like we just go ahead and we hype them. The classes sell out.
Yes.
Really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that what happens is that when Jim announces the classes, that he gets calls the day of saying, well, I'd like to get into the class. And he has to say, no, we can't get you in. So if you really, again, when he announces the classes, if your soul is calling you to take them, again, please honor that and get a hold of Jim as quickly as possible so that, again, that he can go ahead and, again, to fill the classes. There's limited space in the physical class. So, but the fall schedule is coming out. It's not that, I know it's kind of hot now, but fall is like 6 weeks around the corner here. So, so it's coming up here.
Yes,
so,
and I've got a hint for you, Reverend Michael.
Go ahead.
I've got a hint, and this is for you and for our audience. All that is left is healed. All that is left is healed. And how that applies to us is, as we have been on the spiritual path, there are certain key issues that we've worked with for years and years and years, and we may still be working with just the last hints of those things. But there is such power that is available right now that the literal crumbs in our consciousness that keep us from our good can be healed. So one of the hints is that I've gotten a download from Spirit that one of my classes is going to be all that is left is healed. So if there are some recurring issues that you feel like, oh, I thought I dealt with that, but it keeps coming back, all that is left is healed is one of the classes that we'll be working with. So that's a hint for what's coming up in the fall.
Wonderful. I'm going to let you have the last word. Thank you so very much for celebrating the ordination with me. And here is the final word now from Reverend Dr. Jim Webb.
The final word is what Reverend Michael has exhibited for us all. You are the unlimited expression of God's loving affection, good, and will for your good. Let nothing stand between you and it. Allow yourself to receive the grace of God in those places that have been resistant to your good, and unguilt your way to prosperity. Good night.